king may move a man, a father may claim a son, that man can also move himself. And only then does that man truly begin his own game. Remember that howsoever you are played, or by whom, your soul is in your keeping alone. Even though those who presume to play you be kings or men of power, when you stand before God, you cannot say, "But I was told by others to do thus," or that virtue was not convenient at the time. This will not suffice.
I feel like this clip's been everywhere, or I've been seeing it everywhere from Kingdom of Heaven. And when the Leper King says, to me is the most important thing, a man can move himself. I feel like now we live in such a free world that we've kind of lost this ideology of virtue. That's what I want to discuss and talk about. And I think back then, historically, you were so controlled. And we are controlled now, but we feel free. So the fact that we feel free, I feel like we've lost this line of becoming virtuous. I don't even think what people know what virtue is or respect virtue. So I think it's kind of become missing in the modern era and the modern day, that trustworthiness, that understanding that the men you can rely on and the men that you like. Why do you rely on people? What do you look at? Why do you look up to people? It's become like this materialistic world. We live in such a materialistic world, which is fine. Material things are great, but it's what's beneath that. And that's what's being spoken about here. It's such a powerful message. And I feel like I've watched this clip, I watch it a lot, and it makes me think about my life. And then I've been reading all these books, and it talks about virtue. And I feel like that's what's really respected in men. We look up to the men that are virtuous. And I'm going to break down what virtue is, because people understand virtue signaling, or I think they understand it, when people pretend to be virtuous, and they have LGBTQ flags in their bio and Ukraine flags, and they go on these marches and Iran this and Islam that and da 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 da. It's more like externalizing virtue rather than looking at yourself. So you're trying to seem like a good person rather than just being a good person. So I'm going to break down virtue and talk about it a little bit, and the importance of it in your life and why it's something you should aspire to be. So with virtue, it gets broken down into 4 things. The first pillar that gets everything going for you to respect someone as a man is courage. Now, a courageous man is not someone who does crazy shit and just does anything. Courage is acting despite the fear. The stoicism is interesting, because when people look at the philosophy of stoicism, they think it's about suppressing feelings. They think it's about ignoring things. They think it's about, like I said, acting despite the fear. It doesn't mean you don't feel the fear. It doesn't mean you don't embody the fear. It means you act anyway. You're not reckless and you close off all of your emotions and you just become this stone. That's what a lot of people think stoicism is. It's nothing like that. You have to really, really feel more. You have to understand more. You need to dig deeper in yourself. And that's why courage comes from overcoming these emotions. And acting anyway. So like with cage fighting, it's an obvious one. Everyone thinks like when you walk to the cage, you're not afraid. You're more petrified than ever. Every man on the planet is. Otherwise, they're a psychopath. That's the difference between being a psychopath and being a real person. And having the courage to do things and stand up for yourself is such a virtuous thing. And I feel like that's hugely missing now. Having your own opinion and saying your opinion to another man to their face, not behind a keyboard, but sitting there looking someone in the eye and saying your opinion and backing that up is like a lost art now. People are so afraid of confrontation. There's nothing wrong with confrontation. Confrontation doesn't have to turn into violence. Confrontation is understanding who you are, standing up for what you believe in and saying it. And this kind of comes down to my ethos, where I talk about being comfortable with the uncomfortable. If you don't have courage, you can't be uncomfortable. You lean towards comfort. You stay like in a bubble. You're scared. If you want to step outside of that, it takes courage. It takes balls to say, I'm going to do this. And it really changes your whole identity. Now, the second pillar, which is probably the one that I struggle with the most, is temperance. And temperance is basically self-mastery, mastering your emotions, mastering how you react to things, mastering your anger and control of your anger, and patience. I'm the most impatient man in the world. I want things done. I want what I want now. Having that patience and that virtue to see the long haul and think about the longevity of life, not just today, is where I kind of mess up quite a lot. It's controlling your impulses, your ego, it's great to have ego. I believe ego is a very important part of being a man. You don't want to play small, you want to play big. You want to get what you deserve in life. But having control over that is temperance. It is understanding when to push, when to pull, when to relax, when to go. Like it's really, really complex, but it's something I believe you learn over time. And the most important thing about temperance and understanding your impulses is if you just react, if you're just a reactive man who just reacts to everything in the world, then the world controls you. You don't control your world. If you think about it, if you're such a reactive person, when people say things to you, you get angry. That means they're dictating your life. They have control over you. If you can't internalize it, take a moment and think. And be like, no, I'm not going to act like this. I'm going to act like that. I am this man. I am not what the world wants me to be. I'm not pushed around by other people's opinions and circumstances. Again, comes down to stoicism. Again, the whole ideology of stoicism is I control my life. I control my inner dialogue. I control who I am. And my external life does not control me. And then the third pillar, which I think is an obvious one as well, is justice. Being a just person. That's making the right decisions and doing the good thing. Doing the right thing. Maybe it's not the good thing. Doing the right thing, what you believe is right. And this, in modern days, I believe, when you're a just person, it comes down to your reputation in life, how you treat people over the long term. That you have to guard your reputation with everything. It is everything. And it used to be in business, your reputation would be so important. With the internet and all this flexing and manipulation of how people see you, it's so easy to pretend. So your reputation can be manipulated a little bit. But that face-to-face time where you build up rapport and you build up relationships and people speak good of you because you've always acted the right way. Even when it's the hard thing to do. Let's say you're in debt and you've got to pay debts and you pay them back over time and you don't just ignore them. It sounds stupid, but that builds your reputation. You have to guard your reputation with your life. People need to say good things about you behind your back. That's how you become an integral part of a society or of a community, of anything. If everyone's talking shit about you all the time because you're a scammer or you're messing with people or you're lying or you're pretending to be someone you're not, which is a lot of people, it slowly decays against your reputation. But what it decays really is your thought of yourself, your belief in yourself. If you're scamming and doing little things and making little moves and angles to try and put yourself in the right place, and they're hurting others, over time, initially it might feel like it works, but over time it destroys your reputation and you're not a just person. So you don't have justice. You don't have that third pillar. So you need to always think about others and always think about, making the right decisions and doing the right thing, because in the long term, it always pays off. Not just because it's the right thing to do. It's like you could do it selfishly as well as selflessly. You see these people that pretend to be selfless, but really they're just trying to get what they want. And it's kind of like a push and pull mechanism. It kind of works both ways. But if you look at it like this, if I always do the right thing, and I always put others before me, and I always move in that direction, it builds over time. And over a 10, 20, 30, 40 year period, people come back into your life that you were good to, and they help you in the future. So you do it selfishly, but you have to do it with the right intention. And I think that's so important. So again, justice comes down to your word. Does your word carry weight? And if you keep lying and you keep pretending and you're someone else and you're not really that person, eventually you're just speaking hollow words, and you don't even believe yourself. So why will anyone else believe you? So your word has to carry weight. It has to be real, and it has to matter. For your word to matter, it needs to be backed up by action. Fourth pillar to virtue is something that is so hard to get a grasp on, and it's something that I believe makes or breaks a man and makes him different. And that's wisdom. Being wise. This comes over experience. And this is something I see in this world today. People teaching other people things that they don't even really understand because they haven't spent the 10,000 hours learning how to do that thing. In mixed martial arts, there's so many muk dojos, people teaching you one move that they think works, but they haven't had a lifetime of pain and suffering to understand fighting. So you have all these people teaching people that haven't really got the experience that they should. That's in MMA or in any martial art, but it's also in life. You see all these salesmen online selling you courses and bullshit when they haven't even lived. All these young kids streaming that haven't even lived. They haven't even got an opinion. They don't even have a life. They've just become, they just say things that they hear or other people's opinions, and they recalibrate them and then say them to you, but they have no life experience. So how can you trust these people? There's no wisdom there. There's no wisdom in their words. So wisdom comes over like experience and time. It's the final piece to being a virtuous person. So you think if you have courage and you're going to act even though you're afraid, even though you're worried, and then how you do that with temperance. So you do that in a calm manner, patient, you understand all angles, and you do it, from a good place because of justice. So you're trying to push yourself and be a good person. Then the last part is being wise. And wise is like overseeing, like bringing yourself out of your own life and looking at your life from a third person perspective. That gives you wisdom. Wisdom is basically just perspective on life. That's kind of what the Leper King's saying. That's the wisdom part when he says you can be moved by a king. A king can tell you to do something. But if you have the life perspective and you have the virtue and the justice, even if you're told to do something that you disagree with by someone of power or someone that you look up to, it's your decision. You are the one. Your soul is in your keeping. You are the person that needs to agree with it and understand it. Because when it comes to that judgment day, if you're religious or not, when it comes to that judgment day, you have to stand there and be like, I did my best. I tried my best to be a good person. And that will pay more dividend than any life hack or any bullshit that some mentor is trying to tell you. Literally going through life, trying to be a virtuous person and trying to live your life correctly is how you inspire others. It's how you build reputation. The amount of times people ask me, how do you network and meet the right people? You be virtuous. You be someone that other men can rely on. You be someone that other men can respect. And as a young kid, that means keeping your word. That means if you say you're going to do something, you do it. If you get asked or given advice by someone, you follow through with it. You don't pretend to follow through with it, you actually do it. And if you do this for enough time, you garner these skills and you garner this mentality and you get wisdom from it, even if it's putting you in a bad place to start with. You learn from that experience. And learning from that experience is the key as well. It's the part of life that I think is also missing, a mentality that is missing, that we learn from life. Education comes from our experiences. So we don't get educated at school. We don't get educated by teachers. We get educated by ourselves. You are your best teacher. You are the person that matters. Your opinion is what matters. You have to calculate it and understand it. And you get that through experience. So if you're asked to do something and you're not sure, maybe do it. Garner the experience from it. It might be bad, it might be good, it might be weird, it could be anything, it could be crazy, but you get life experience. And that life experience will eventually give you wisdom. And then you can put all of these pieces into play. But if you just go through life afraid and have no courage and don't take any chances and don't do anything, then how are you going to get the rest? How are you going to be a virtuous man? How are you going to be a man that people can respect? How are you going to be in the right circles and with the right people and be able to add value to other people's lives? Which is what networking is. All networking is value exchange. Meeting someone and being like, I can do this for you. Giving, not taking. Everyone wants to take. But if you're a man of virtue and you give with your heart properly from the start, then eventually, years down the line, you can take, you can get back, if that's your goal in life. Or you can just give and give and give, and I guarantee things will go your way. So being wise and having wisdom is basically courage, but not being reckless. Understanding your direction and where you want to go, but not overstepping because you've seen it from a bird's eye view. You've looked at life from a different angle, from a different perspective, not just through your own eyes. You understand how the world sees you. You understand how your friends see you, your family see you. You understand what you want to project to the world and what you want to get back from it. That is wisdom. It takes time. So with courage, you can act. With temperance, you stay controlled. With justice, you stay trusted. You're a trusted person. And then with wisdom, you stay effective. It works. That's where you try 1,000 times to get the wisdom for the final one to work. And then everyone says you're an overnight success because everything came together. So the message I'm trying to send and what I want you to understand is money is great. And all of the externalities are great, and having a nice car and living in a nice house and being able to go to nice restaurants, awesome. But if you don't have integrity, if you don't have virtue, when the money starts coming, your life is going to explode. Life is harder with money. It's not easier. There's more choices, more options, more desires, more things that can distract you. Everything is crazy. If you're not a man of virtue and you don't understand yourself and you're not grounded, you're just going to get lost. And I see it so many times with young entrepreneurs who start making a bit of money and then they just go crazy. And then they regret it. So it's one of those things. Try and build yourself as a man, and then you build the empire. Everything you do in life should be a life lesson. You should be your own teacher. You should be learning from every single moment. And these ideologies, everything that I'm talking about, and that I've spent my lifetime analyzing myself and analyzing my movements and trying to be, not always be a virtuous person, but as I grow older, I see the importance of it and I see the lack of it in the world. And that's why I invented the upgrade. The upgrade gives you these tools, gives you these understandings of yourself. You dig deep into your own existence and understanding, and you can grow and build the person before you build the empire. So if you're interested in the upgrade, the link will be in the bio, and plenty more messaging coming, plenty more videos coming. Appreciate you watching, appreciate your time, appreciate everything, and I'll see you guys very soon.